Frederick Marshall is a pioneer in identifying the research-based behavioral patterns of top performers, and then helping global innovators like Apple, Pfizer, and Genentech scale those behaviors to drive billions. He's a recognized expert in change management, launching new brands and sales force effectiveness. He's personally trained over 130,000 people in 14 countries. He's known for his ability to turn anxiety into agency and radically simplify the complex. Welcome to the show, Fred.
Well, thank you. So glad to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you on. Tell us a little bit
hmm
about your personal lives, more about your work, and why you do what you do.
Well, I think the most important thing I can say about my personal life, I grew up in Portland, Oregon, and by the time I was 18, I'd been in the hospital 18 times. Not a lot of people know that. And I think it was primarily because I had a pretty good case of ADHD. I think I could have been a poster child for that. I was one of those kids who, if I could think of it, I was doing it, and you know how that ends up. But then when I was 18, my dad died suddenly of a heart attack, and that was a bit of a catalyst to a bit of a wake up call, if you will, and it got me headed on a pathway of really learning to manage my own attention. And my dad was a doctor, so I sort of followed chemistry and biochemistry and went that pathway, worked in the pharmaceutical industry for quite a while, worked for two consulting firms, then started a company called Quantum Learning 33 years ago, which is hard to believe. It seems like yesterday. And what we did was we helped companies launch their brands. Avastin, Pfizer, Genentech, Avastin, Herceptin, a lot of oncology products, a lot of products for, really tough to treat diseases like MS and so forth. And we would help them launch those brands, grow those brands. And the approach that we took was not looking at it through a traditional sales and marketing lens, but through a change management lens. And so over the course of 30 years, we got really good at helping physicians change their mindsets and behaviors, the staff, patients, getting payers to pay for these drugs, which are so beneficial for patients, but they might be expensive and the payers didn't want to pay for them. So we had to help them see the value of that and then help them through the change process. And I think those two things really came together in my current, ambition and project, which is this book, Thrive, which I just finished writing. It's coming out on May 12th. And, you know, your attention and managing change are really important in the future. I invest in a lot of AI startups. I became good friends with Peter Diamandis, who I'm sure you know. And he introduced me to the world of AI in a big way and helped me get involved in investing in various startups. And I see the pitch decks. I get access to the data rooms. I can see what's coming. And it's clear that AI is going to bring unbelievable advances and improve the quality of life and at the same time be incredibly disruptive. And so I thought, I need to put together something to help people navigate this and really get the best of the changes that are coming and not get overwhelmed by them. And so that's what I've been doing for the last year and a half, is getting that book across the finish line. And now my motivation, I think, to answer your last question, is just to give back. As basic and as fundamental as that sounds, I've had a pretty fantastic life and I want to pay it forward. It's kind of as simple as that.
Well, that's a beautiful thing right there. 18 trips to the hospital by age 18. Did you space it out one a year? Or
Oh
was it?
no, oh no, they came in clusters. Yeah. And nothing, it wasn't like bad things happened to me. I was just so energetic and jumping and bike riding and, two concussions, broke my leg twice. You don't want to know the details. Um, but it was an adventure. And I'll tell you, I learned something interesting in that whole experience. Uh, People talk about resiliency. Nothing makes you more resilient than, being stitched up over and over again
Mm.
and realizing, hey, you know what? It stings a little bit. My thumb's a little sore, but it still works. Like you can take a lot and keep going. And it taught me uh, to keep going, believe it or not, keep trying stuff. It's only a broken leg. It'll heal. What, 6 weeks? It's over. It's like not a big thing. I know that sounds insane to say it that way, but it's honestly how I think about it.
That makes a lot of sense to me. I'm sorry about your dad.
Well, thank you.
How do you, in some ways, what you just said is almost it's kind of the opposite. You have this belief in yourself that you're going to get better and keep moving, but then your dad
Hmm.
dies at such a young age.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was connected to it in a strange way. Um, I realized, once he died, I realized it's on me. If I'm going to do something,
Mm.
I'm the one who has to do it. I can't rely on somebody else because he literally, is no longer there. And so that sort of, it's interesting. Your self-talk could go either way. I could say, "Oh, life dealt me a rough hand," and all this kind of stuff. And, I got some, I had some things happen, but I didn't narrate it that way. I was very not careful. I just narrated it from the point of view of, okay, so what can I learn from this? How can I grow? Let me try to become more because of this and keep moving.
So that all those broken legs and concussions actually prepared you for such a horrific event.
I I think so. In a strange, I don't know if it prepared me, but
Right.
I got through it. I got through it. I have a friend a good friend who recently passed away, and just a couple days ago, really close friend. And when something like that happens, it's like Jupiter just disappeared from the solar system.
Hmm.
All the planets have to realign, and it took a while for that to occur, but it did. And I think ironically, we become stronger because of it. Um, when you have these tough situations happen, you can grow.
Is that a big part of what agency is?
I think I think another part of agency is also just doing it, not letting fear get in the way. And also having a strategy helps. Not trying to tackle the whole thing, but break it into little bits. Divide and conquer has always been my strategy. My staff will tell you I say divide and conquer a lot. Like we got a big thing, big launch meeting coming up, a lot of moving parts. Hey, we'll divide and conquer. And that works. It's not rocket science, really.
Yeah. But I think that's really wisdom. So
Yeah, yeah, I think so. At least it's worked for me and the people I know and care about. Yeah.
there's a great quote from one of the Stoics. It says, "Don't disturb
Mm.
yourself by imagining your entire life all at once."
Oh God. Yeah. That's a beautiful. I love that. I've never heard that before, but that makes a lot of sense. It's weird. I believe that we have to do two things at the same time. I think we need to build the future that we want, and that's notoriously a long-term, long arc, right? Think about all the things that you want in your life: love, wealth, health, great relationships. All those things are long-term investments in the people and things you care about. But at the same time, you can't take it on all at once or you just get crushed by it. So you break it down. Okay, what can I do today? And I think toggling back and forth between building the future and then, living in the moment and being really effective in the moment. Those are the two places where our attention should be going most of the time. But in a weird way, we have this third thing that's entered the picture now more than ever before, and that's just noise. The whole attention economy is designed to fragment your attention, break it into 1,000 pieces, keep you inside their ecosystem, hang ads in front of you, monetize the heck out of you. That's a force that we have to fight against if you want to have enough bandwidth to take on the big picture things and at the same time live in the present moment.
Why did you name your book Thrive?
Because I think it's important, especially today, because there's so much opportunity and there's so much abundance everywhere. It's not equally distributed, but there's so much abundance everywhere that it's important to go beyond survival and actually thrive. I
Yeah.
feel very strongly about that. Like, don't settle for survival, go for thriving. It's there for you.
Amen. Anxiety into agency, turning anxiety into agency. That strikes me as a form of modern alchemy right there.
It is. You know, um, I think the biggest challenge that we have today is that there's so many things triggering us all the time. You open up your phone, what do you see? The most horrific news. And if you go on TikTok and Instagram, there's so many dopamine hits interspersed with little cortisol spikes. We're bombarded. What I read a statistic recently that the average millennial is looking at their phone, picking up their phone 100 times a day. Wow. It's hard to build the future you want, in 9 or 10 minute fragments. And that's what happens. That's if you divide a day into 100 times, you get, 9 minute chunks. Um, but those triggers for anxiety or those triggers for stress, or the addiction that's probably a good way to put it, is now being established for many people through social media. Um, turning that into agency is incredibly simple. It starts with how you talk to yourself, how you narrate things in your head.
What do you mean?
Well, let's say you're spiraling about something, there's a war going on, or the economy isn't going right, or you're worried about your job and AI. And, we tend to spiral as humans. We can like loop over and over again with stuff and get into this whole, oh my God, what's going to happen next? And then this, and then this, and then this. And we kind of go down this rabbit hole. The first step is to really say to yourself, all right, take a breath, pause for a minute, and then ask yourself, all right, where's my attention going right now? Oh, it's down this rabbit hole about, AI induced job loss. Okay. Where should my attention be going? What's my larger goal and vision? Well, it's really to set up this cool garden in the backyard. That's what I really want to be doing. Okay. Or I want to develop, a greater relationship with some people that I care about, or whatever it is for you. And then shift your attention from whatever it was that was stressing you out, literally to something different. Like shift, from here to here. Do that. And then, the third step is really how you narrate it. Like, okay, this thing too shall pass. I'll figure it out. We'll find a way, as opposed to, oh my God, this always happens. Oh my God, my life is over. That kind of narration can really amplify the spiral. And then make a decision. This is what I'm going to put my attention to. I'm not going to put my attention to this. I think that last part's kind of important because saying no is the secret to creating the future you want. It's ironic. It's subtraction. It's designed by subtraction, clearing away the noise, the clutter, all the things that are taking your attention away, and saying yes to one or two things. That's how you really simplify your life. And then take an action. And like we were saying before, something small, something simple. Don't tackle the whole mountain. Just, you know, pack your stuff and get up to base camp and start there.
I appreciate all of that. We get to choose. I have agency. I get to choose what it is that I'm thinking and how I feel about that, and I get to
Hmm.
choose my my thoughts. And but if I don't know that, if I'm just not aware, or then other people, all those other people we've been talking about, are going to be extracting my attention and my resources and essentially my future.
They are. They are. That choice is such an interesting thing, and it's so important, as you've said. Um, the world is distracting. The world is complicating. We have to exercise choice, but there's a little neuroscience bit to this as well, and that is, our brains have these two systems, System One and System Two, that Kahneman has talked about in the book Thinking Fast and Slow. If you've read that, or if you're aware of that. And system one is great. It's autopilot, right? It's how I drive my car and listen to a podcast at the same time. It's beautiful to have an autopilot for things that you know how to do, that you're used to doing. It simplifies life. But autopilot can be a trap. We can be triggered into autopilot anxiety, autopilot stress, autopilot worry. And so conscious choice is how you break out of system one and activate system two. And the other way is to do the thing I mentioned earlier. Just take a deep breath. Okay, where's my attention now? All right, yeah, I'm going down the rabbit hole. Let me stop that and have that, inner conversation. Have that internal journey.
There's so much power in breath and in breathing. And We
Yeah.
take it for granted because we're always breathing.
Well, it's true. And our breath is such a good metaphor for managing change because most of the time it's on autopilot. Like I never think about my breath during the day. It's like it's not part of my consciousness. But when I'm doing a workout next door here, I'm very aware of my breath and I try to be deliberate about it. And so, our brains are kind of the same way. You can't be in conscious choice mode all the time. It's sort of exhausting. It's too much. It takes a lot of energy. But sometimes you need to do that. And so I think the nuance, just like the nuance is balancing, long-term vision and taking action to build the future you want and balance it with be in the moment short term, just like you've got that dichotomy. The same thing with, there are times to be on autopilot and there are times to activate conscious choice, kick in agency and make decisions about what you want to do and not let the algorithm decide what you're paying attention to right now. I think that's really important. That's the biggest challenge today. I think the algorithm is the force is strong with this one, right? The algorithm is strong and it's powerful and it's been, improved. And we kind of have to fight that a little bit. I don't know if that's been your experience or not.
But 100% and improved is a wonderfully perfect and horrible term for that because it's been improved from their perspective, not necessarily mine.
Oh, yeah, it's optimized for them. I guarantee you, social media is not optimizing for you.
No, it's not.
You are the product. You are the product. What's the old saying? If it's free, you're the product.
Indeed. So talking about change management, where it's mindset and behavior, is
Mm.
it essentially the behaviors of my mindset and my thinking? Is that what you're talking about, or is it physical behavior?
All of the above, but I think a good place to start is mindset. There are a lot of different mindsets that we can have. There are four that I think are particularly relevant for the exponential world that we're in now. The first is just this investment mindset, thinking to yourself, what's worth investing in over 3, 5, 7 years? If I concentrate my attention and energy, what's worth doing that for? Well, starting a company, building an amazing relationship, building a wonderful home and garden. Those are all things that are worth, deep investment in. Relationships with cool, amazing people. That's so worth investing in. And if our attention is being scattered all the time, attention really is the greatest investment. I mean, money matters and time matters, but attention matters way more. And so, adopting an investment mindset, I think is number one. Right behind that is a contribution mindset, really leading. Keith Ferrazzi is a friend of mine, and Keith used to say, he still says, lead with generosity. I love that saying. I would say lead with contribution. Your first impulse should be, how can I contribute? What can I do to help? How can I support? How can I make this better? How can I help somebody have a better experience? And when you have that mindset, it changes everything. The third one maybe is a systems mindset. So if you want to do big things, you're not going to do it through willpower alone. You need a system. And we have systems in our life, but nowadays it's good to be very intentional about it. We've got all these tools, right? In my home, I have this podcast station and it's state of the art. I mean, it's incredible. You can do this now for a relatively low cost. The technology and the systems that are available today are extraordinary. The cost is going down, down, down. They're getting better and better and better. And so building systems in your life that kind of simplify the complex and hide it and tuck it away in the hidden layers of your life, that's really valuable. It helps you, the way I think about it is simplify the interfaces of your life. You wake up, what's the first thing you see? That's the interface. You go to your closet to get clothes. What's the interface there? Is it well designed or is it just like thrown together? You design the visible layers of your life to be clean and beautiful and elegant, and then take the complexity and the heavy lifting and throw it in the hidden layers. Nowadays with agentic AI coming on board, it's going to be so, maybe not in the next year, but in 2 years, it's going to be so easy to build systems that just do things in the background for you. It's going to be spectacular. People say it's going to, it might affect jobs. Yes, that's true. But I think it's going to empower. in the long run. It's going to democratize and empower. And if you get those systems built, that frees you up to be fully human and do the things that only you can do. And that's pretty exciting.
It's an absolutely beautiful thing.
hmm I think the last mindset, which is worth talking about a little bit, is this. I call it a mashup mindset, where you're mixing two things together. Uh, but all the great innovations are when two or three technologies converge and form something new. You know, the iPhone is the ultimate convergence thing. I mean, how many technologies are loaded into that device? Literally thousands and thousands. There, if you want to future-proof your life, get good at mashing up things that used to not be together that now could be together and create something more valuable, something at a higher level. That's a cool thing. And you can use AI to do that. Like something I've been doing lately is I'll take an article from here and I'll take an article from there and some photos and I'll throw it into ChatGPT and I'll say, mash these up, make something cool and interesting that would be valuable to this group with this problem. And the stuff it comes back with is I'm impressed. I continue to be kind of blown away by that. So you don't have to do it yourself. You can get some help with AI and other things. But those mindsets, I think, set the stage for managing all the change that's coming. You sort of take charge rather than reacting to change. Like, no, I'm investing in the things I care about. I'm focused on contribution. I'm building systems to make it happen. And I'm using strategies like take this technology and mix it with that to help accelerate that. Those four mindsets will take you a long way. And nobody, most people don't think like that.
Is a focus on contribution that is that ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you could do for your country kind of thinking?
Yeah, I think so. Um, and it's also just the balancing act to ambition. Ambition is such a good and bad thing. If you're ambitious, and I hang around really like extraordinarily ambitious people, you don't have to rub too far to find just raw, untethered ambition behind these folks' brains. But it's connected to contribution, and that balances out the ambition in a beautiful way. And so if you've got like high ambition, but you're trying to make the world, I know it sounds cliche, but trying to make the world a better place, oh, that's a beautiful combination. Then your ambition is balanced and grounded and centered. If it's all about you, it's not very pretty.
There's a lot of virtue in that.
I think, and it's practical too. When you help others, it all comes back to you too. So we
Hmm.
know how karma works.
So you have your own personal experience. You've got your finger on the pulse. You get to see things that not everybody gets to see. You're
hmm
you're 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 hopeful for the future.
I am. I am. I'm super optimistic. It's going to be bumpy for the next couple of years, but the things that are coming are extraordinary. I'll give you an example. David Sinclair, he's runs this lab in Harvard, and he's been focused on longevity and found these chemical factors that can reverse aging in mice retina. He's actually doing clinical studies right now, clinical trials in the United States, just started. He has figured out a way to use AI to make small molecules. That means you can take it as a pill versus an injection or something like that. That for something that has the potential to literally reverse aging, literally reverse it. You've got an old cell, now you've got a young cell. It's the science is incredible, and AI is a big part of how helping make it accessible to the most people. Because if a biologic is costing you $1 million a patient, well, nobody can afford it. But if it's a pill, it's so cheap, everybody now has access, and that's what he's doing. And how cool would it be to take a pill and live longer? Amazing.
Very, very exciting. So when somebody picks up a copy of Thrive, what are you hoping they get out of it?
I think there are really three things. First is just to simplify your life. It's so complicated nowadays. We really get into the details of how to radically simplify your life. That's number one. Number two, and it's kind of related to number one, is just elevate your well-being. We're so stressed. There's so many distractions, and our attention is so fragmented. It's disorienting. and it's not fun. And so we can, really elevate your well-being by following these principles and these frameworks. And then third is build the future that you want. Don't let the algorithm build your future. Don't let somebody else decide what your future is going to be. You have that choice and you can build it. And so we go into, a pretty fair amount of detail about how to build the future, one build, break it down, right? One building block at a time and how to do that. And I call it weekifying it. Have a big vision, break it down into things you can do every week, like 15, even 20 minutes a week. I might not be able to get something done today, but I can always find 20 minutes or 30 minutes in a week and just keep moving it along and let compound growth do its magic. That's how you build a breathtaking future.
Love it. Well, Fred, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people learn more about you? How can they engage? Where can they get their copy of Thrive?
ThriveFutureU.com is our website. And if you just, Google Thrive, the antidote to future shock, it'll come right up and you can go to whatever bookstore you want to go to. It comes out May 12th. You can pre-order today.
Excellent. Well, if you enjoyed this as much as I did, show Fred your appreciation. Share today's show with a friend who also appreciates good ideas. Go to thrivefutureu.com. Learn all about what Fred is working on and pick up your copy of Thrive. You can pre-order it right now, and on May 12th, it will go live. Thanks again, Fred.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed talking with you.
Until next time, remember, do your part by doing your best.